Well, now as we navigate the dynamic waters of maritime industry, the significance of seafarers' training in shaping the future cannot be overstated. Today, we delve into a critical discussion on innovations in seafarers' training, charting the course ahead. This panel will attempt to explore groundbreaking strategies, technological advancements, and best practices that are revolutionizing the way we prepare our seafarers for the challenges of tomorrow. Without further ado, let me welcome our esteemed dignitaries on the stage who hold and will give us the insights along with their expertise in this crucial domain. First of all, our moderator for our session, we would like to invite Captain Shiv Halbe, CEO, MASA. Please come on stage, sir. I'd also like to call upon the Principal and Director, Anglo-Eastern Maritime Training Center, Captain Debu. Please come on stage. Bringing also on stage, we have the Head of Training, D. Emico Ship ISMA India Private Limited, and that is Captain Pankaj Nayak, to please join us. Principal of FMIRO Kolkata, Captain Hemadri Ray, please join us. Principal FMIRO Noida, Captain Sureen Narang, please join us on stage. CEO Board of Examination of Seafarers, Captain Harish Khatri, please join us. And Managing Director, OSM Thom India, Captain Arun Mehta, to please join us. Ladies and gentlemen, your esteemed panel, I will now hand it over to Captain Halbe. You can speak here as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to you. No, I was here saying to welcome you specifically. So, good afternoon to you. I think this is the first session per se that we are having of FSM, and I request that our esteemed panelists will set the tone of what's going to follow for later this afternoon, as well as can you hear me? I think so, because I can hear myself. So we are having a round of musical chairs. I have no idea why. Okay, innovation, yeah. As long as you don't turn around, it's okay with me. As long as you don't turn around the chair, it's fine. It looks fine. Okay, I think the jigsaw has finally been solved. So, who? I have, no, it's okay. So I think better on my feet. So, the topic today is, no, I don't want this, but the topic today is, the problem with technology is that everybody needs to be on the same level when you use that technology. And maybe innovation comes there as to how you will use the technology. The subject is, of course, a very necessary one. It's a very necessary topic because we are having a lot of technological advancements in the maritime industry, and my maritime industry all over the globe, everywhere else. 5 years back, if somebody had told me that we will be using GPay and UPI, I wouldn't have believed him. But today we do. Even ordinary coconut seller uses such facilities, which is a technology. But I want to wind the clock back a little bit because I see most of the people on the stage have, their pate has turned, quite a few of them has actually turned into a landing strip. So it signifies their experience, if I may say. What I think about innovation, just this morning when I was coming to the airport, there was this guy who rides a bicycle and he sharpens knives. And he does a wonderful job. He just puts the bike on the stand and then he turns the pedal and he sharpens the knife. That's innovation. I mean, the purpose of the bike is to take you from one place to another. But same way, I saw a motorcycle fellow. He had having ganna. Not today, I saw him earlier. And sugarcane. He puts the motorcycle on a stand, kicks it, and there, lo and behold, you get a sugarcane crusher out of the motorcycle, which is, I think, wonderful. So, with this esteemed panel that we have here today, and the technological advancements that we are having, I will have some questions, but before that, I think each of you deserve and must get a couple of minutes to express yourselves, because your domain expertise is quite different. And Captain Khatri, I'm not singling you out, but you have been an examiner. So we would like to hear you also. So whenever you are ready, the mics are available, I think. Yeah. So you can start from the port side. Yes, Captain Mehta.
Am I audible? Thank you. Thank you, sir. I think you started it off by saying that innovation is about looking at something in a new way, in a novel way.
Can't do.
And I think the one aspect of innovation. Is it better?
Yeah.
I thought that was for the evening. but the one aspect of innovation which is equally important, which also sort of you alluded to, is the fact that any innovation in isolation is of no value. Until and unless we can remove the frictions and we can increase the velocity of adoption, plus we can also ensure that it becomes more seamless. You talked about UPI. It's so seamless. So the framework which has been set at the background, the complexity of that is not what you are faced with on a day-to-day basis. It is made so simple for adoption and use today that it automatically will then become a medium of choice. It's not something that is being pushed, it is something that is being pulled. So from a push, it has come down to a point where people actually want to adopt it rather than the other way around. So my take on the fact of innovation is that we need to equally look at not what we are innovating, but how we are innovating, and are the frameworks ready? Are we ready for innovation? And whatever we think is innovation, is that actually ready for adoption and mass adoption? If you have this was long time back, it was said that if you have a fax machine and only you have a fax machine, it's useless. The more the number of people who use the fax machine, then the value of that fax machine comes out. And that's true for probably everything we do. So I think it's the velocity of adoption, which we can, making it as frictionless and seamless as possible, and setting up the right frameworks so that it moves from a push, people wanting, it becomes a pull, and it becomes attractive to take it on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think you said it's innovation by infection. It should spread like that, isn't it?
It should. And I think that's the challenge.
Yeah, true. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Shiv, thank you very much for giving us this opportunity. Yes.
FSM. Thank you, FSM. Thank FSM. They gave you the opportunity.
Yes, of course, certainly. Captain Shaukat, thank you for inviting me, to share some thoughts. What thoughts I have on this innovation, if you allow me just to go back, and my feeling is that the teaching as such, and I speak in the maritime sector alone, has remained what it was. That means you come to the classroom and your teacher walks in and you are taught some subjects. I'm talking about the academics part of that. That has remained exactly the same. Now what has happened over the time, because of the evolving technology on the ship, this stagnation in the teaching methodology has brought in a gap between what is being taught, what is being examined, some gap there, and substantial gap on what is really expected out of you on board the ship. So I'm trying to say there are 2 points now. One is the teaching methodology that needs to evolve itself. And by that, I am of course leaving out certain exceptions of reputed companies who have actually gone ahead and got virtual realities and various other training methods they have evolved, no doubt. But I'm talking about in major way most of the teaching has remained. So what is my suggestion on that? That I was reading somewhere, and in fact the IIMs way back in 98, I did a small course there and they did this, that there is something called flipped classrooms. And flipped classrooms are that you are given lessons before you come to the class, and you are given assignment as well. And when you do your lesson reading, you attempt the assignments, and you come to the classroom time is utilized only for problem solving and critical analysis of what is being actually, what you need to the subject, criticality of the subject. It is not that used the other way, that you come to the classroom, first time the chapter is opened by the teacher. So that's the way the teaching strategy has to evolve. And about the gap, how do we address that gap? And I strongly believe that we need to have the entire training setup centric on the case studies. We have to have case studies, whether they are case studies of accidents, and I know for maritime accidents, there are a whole lot of work done in the Directorate General of Shipping. They are available. Or need not be only accidents. I mean, if something has to be taught about the launching of a ship, for example, then there are case studies for that. You develop case studies for that, and share those aspects of it. And when a case study is taught and understood in the classroom, it actually blows into innumerable directions. And that is the beauty of a learning of a subject. These are the two things that I would like to say.
Thank you. So what you effectively said, that innovation need not only be technology, but the method also. It can be very much. Yeah. Thank you. Can we have Captain Narang, please?
Good evening, everybody.
Captain Narang, I'm not stopping you, but I'm just reminding the panelists. They have told me that at 18:25 they will switch off the power here. So
I'll be very short. So, good evening, everybody, and thanks for inviting us over here. My question to the audience straight away, I can go there then. Is a great disruption needed, and why? Anybody? Is this great disruption or innovation needed, and why? So actually, in Europe, what is happening is where the disruption of innovations are starting, much higher than anywhere else. And the main reason over there is the green shipping. Green shipping, the carbon. And that's where the challenge for upskilling the seafarer has come a lot. In fact, within the last 2 weeks only, there have been remote operating centers opened in Rhine River, where about 6 ships are on autonomous. Now, don't mistake this autonomous to AI. In fact, AI has been there with us since adaptive autopilot was taught in phase 2, which has been there in the syllabus for, I guess, when we were doing that time also. So adaptive autopilot is exactly an example of artificial intelligence, where you have put sensors, and the sensors fine-tune. What they have introduced new is the machine learning, where the sensor now fine-tunes you and gives you a better result. But are companies, the stakeholders, allowing the seafarer to do this? Majority of the new guys I interact with in my college, they say, sir, we have it, but we are not allowed to use it. Very few come. Why? I ask them why. So neither the stakeholder has got confidence that the user can use it, and nor user has taken any interest in using it. How to avoid such a situation? And there will be so many examples pertaining to this. How can we allow collaborative maker and student learning? Through the modules, through AI, and I would like to show here a 1-minute clipping, if you don't mind, which is on there, or later you want to.
Let us hear them, and then we will.
I'll pass it on to you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I would like to, bring us down to reality. for the last, many decades, we were, seafarers upskilling has been based on STCW. STCW took 20 years, or rather it's going to take 20 years for 2010, the next version to come. It's expected around 2030. Around 2030, we are going to see a revolutionary change in technology. And mature technologies, not immature technologies which we see now. Now it's only research, development, all that is going on. We are going to see a massive revolutionary gap between what STCW can deliver and what the industry requires. At the same time, 2030, UNCTAD says there are going to be 800,000 seafarers. Traditional seafarers who are presently at sea, seafarers who are training to be at sea, who will need to be upskilled and reskilled. Reskilled and upskilling, reskilling is what? Most of that upskilling, reskilling will be based on ICT. I would like to ask, the boys and girls who are going through training now, are they being trained in ICT? I don't know. I don't think so. They should. Because if they aren't, forget about the existing seafarers who don't have this academic base. It's going to take finding means of reskilling and upskilling them is going to be extremely challenging. And so that's why, when I saw that ocean technologies and autonomous learning, I had never heard of autonomous learning before, but it appeared to be pretty interesting. That's what we need. We need, training methodologies like that to address the existing seafarers so that it doesn't become redundant, face employment challenges in not a very long term, maybe 7-8 years from now. Because STCW in its present format cannot handle the training needs of what emerging technology needs. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Ray. What you said is absolutely true. About 20 years back, I was involved in a small manner in a project called Autonomous Shipping Professional. Okay? It never saw the light of the day because it was way too early because STCW 2010 wasn't there. We were still struggling with 95, barely at the time, because 2003, year 2000, STCW 95 was implemented. I think, am I right? Yeah, 2095 came into being. 78, which came into effect in 84. 95, but it came into effect in 2010. 2000. Oh, 2001. Okay. Captain Kersey, please.
So it's my honor to be present at the FSM, and I thank Shaukat Mukherjee for inviting me to be here and on this panel also. So future skills maritime. What do we understand by that? In fact, I would like to ask the cadets who are sitting here whether the new technologies, as they said, disruptive technologies which are coming in, are they frightening you or are you happy to embrace them? Talk about autonomous ships. Do they frighten you that maybe nobody will be there on board a ship? What do you feel? What do you feel? Are you frightened? Not frightened. Excellent. In fact, you are at the right cusp of this technology change. And in fact, at this time, maybe your growth to the new level will be much faster and the curve much steeper. Because yes, not only let the autonomous ships come in, doesn't matter. But by the time you will be well trained on the ships to be able to transfer ashore and be able to then operate remotely those same ships. So I think the disruptive technology which is coming in, which will talk about the future skills. So the future skills, I must thank Masa for allowing me to be present at IMO for the STCW meetings that are held, HTW meetings. And now the STCW is undergoing a comprehensive review and comprehensive revision. which happens every 15 years. No, last one was in 2010, amendments which came out. And the discussion now that goes on is that the next 2 years, we will be actually working for finding out what are the review points, what needs correction, what is the pathway, what is the road ahead that we need to follow. And the following 2 years will be kept for actually writing down the revisions. And maybe, as rightly mentioned by somebody, between 2028 and 2030, the new conference and the new amendments will be adopted. So what do we want from this STCW? You know, currently what we see is that it is only, let's say, underpinning knowledge, a bottom platform that is formed. But all other technology changes have to be individually taken care of by the individual companies through value-added training. And that's what is going on currently also. And that will go on also in the future, because STCW cannot keep pace with the technology change. Not 20 years is too long a time. Things are moving so much faster in that. So we see such a big jump required. You know, you talk about decarbonization, you talk about, wind-assisted vessels which are sailing, you talk about automation control systems, using SCADA systems, etc. for engineers. So many different areas which need to be adopted and trained on. You know. So what I feel is, I think Ocean Technologies person mentioned very nicely the term autonomous learning. We need to see that education and training may be taken care of by STCW as the base underpinning generic knowledge. After that, we should talk about learning and development. I think that's the term we must use, L&D, which will be more personalized to individual seafarer as to what is their need, what is their niche area they want to cater to. If they are going on, let's say, I would just take an example of a ship flying in the Arctic today, an LNG carrier, which loads in the Arctic. What is the technology change in that? What do you need to learn? Firstly, you need to have the navigation skills, normal navigation skills. That's fine. What do you top it up with further? It is a large vessel. It has got windage area. That needs to be taken care of. Third part, it is going into ice regions, Arctic areas. You have to train him in the ice part. Fourth part, they are having azipod thruster propulsion system. How do you navigate with that? So you can see STCW will give you a base. After that, all these are additional top-ups, which I feel a more credit-based modular system of learning needs to be developed. And that will take care of, I think, the future skills. More personalized learning, which will be the responsibility of the individual to take care of, so that he's ready to join that particular company when the type of ship when the company calls for. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Debu. Captain Nayak, a ship owner's perspective.
Yes. First of all, thank you, Shaukat, for giving me this opportunity and allow me to present the owner in terms of what is required to upskills the existing plus the new generation that requires to be met. And I totally agree with what Captain Debu said. As of now, we are actually doing, yes, STCW is a standardized training that is required to be met. But to run the ship, to operate the ship, you need to develop or need to have certain level of skills. And that is what from the owner we have been told that, look, we need a skilled seafarer. Now there is also challenge, as Arun rightly said, what was in the past, and we have a blended people, there are old people, there are new people, and I really admire those girls. They are not scared. Same thing, I can see that the young guys are not scared of using the technology, making the innovation, and go forward. They will take that chance, as opposed to the one which are little experienced in terms of the seafaring thing, but operating the new level of technology that has been introduced, and go ahead with it. I just want to tell you that COVID has, really an eye-opener, and a lot of digitization has been done. And with us, being representing owner, we have actually in last couple of years, with the software developer and other thing, a lot of your record book is converted into electronic and software based. And the intention is that manually you can do the mistakes, but they are doing using the software is going to literally alert you that if you are doing anything wrong, it is not going to accept. So probably you make the correct entry, avoid those human errors. So from the owner's perspective, as I say, that individually yes, need to put in efforts, and of course owner being providing that platform, ensure that this skills has been met.
Thank you very much. We got a fairly panoramic view of opinions from different people, so very nice. And one of the thoughts that came to me when I heard all of you is, some of you have talked about new technologies coming in, mature technologies coming in by the time the users actually get to use it. Now, who's going to teach them? You and me? How? How's that going to happen? Captain Narang? I mean, I can barely use a calculator.
So that's where I said collaborative learning between the makers of these technology and trainers, and the trainers could spread it further.
Repeat the last part. Maker
And trainers.
Okay.
So that the trainers can take it forward once they've experienced the collaborative technology.
Okay.
So what they say that it is the startups which are working for optimization of vessels' performances with owners. And those will be the best guys to train people. Train the trainers.
Yeah, absolutely. Captain Ray,
And our,
can you?
Our education and training institutions, which we have at present, they will need to undergo a sea change right now, because you can't start changing them in 2030 or 2035 once the technology hits you. They have to be changed now. Trainers have to do, stop thinking about doing VICT or something like that and do something drastically different, because this can't be done in a jiffy. It takes time to, for trainers to first upskill their skills, and after that, of course, you've got the trainees to think about.
Thank you. Captain Debu, you asked the youngsters here whether they are afraid of the technology. So I'm now, yeah, fair enough, with modernization or technology. See, innovation or invention will happen whether you like it or not. Nobody is going to wait for you. People will invent, keep inventing, people, person, whatever it might be, whosoever it might be. But, if there is a 2-year-old child and you stand in front of the child and tell him to jump from this platform, the child will jump. Partly because of 2 reasons. 1, he trusts you that you will catch him. 2, because he doesn't know the impact of the fall, he doesn't understand that. Is it a case where the youngster is saying, yes, I will use the technology, but do they know the impact? Do they know what will happen if the technology fails or if it is used incorrectly? Do they know that?
Yeah, so I think we come to the second point on the methodologies of
Yes.
training. That is also, right now, if you see in our curriculum for STCW courses, it's classroom based course. Then we give an exam on paper charts, though we are using ECDIS charts on the ships. So our training curriculum is not in sync with what is required on board the ships today. So we need to, fast forward, jump forward on that aspect. So when I mentioned to you about the technology that is coming in and how STCW can be dovetailed into modern methods of teaching, one is, yes, there would be use, of course, some classroom and the teacher training will be used, but when we talk about different type specific equipment that will be also fitted on board, each faculty cannot be trained on all the type of specific equipment. So that's where the modern technology of e-learning programs, micro-learning videos, gaming videos, VR goggles, AR goggles, which where a computer programmer has prepared that module in sync with the manufacturer of that equipment. And that's how that training is being carried on. So that's how the more advanced and type-specific training can be done. Whereas our classroom teaching will take care of the STCW part as well as little bit of the more advanced technologies like ammonia fuel ships or LPG, LNG fuel ships, etc. But yes, we need to leverage with more different methods of teaching, and this should now get accepted by DG Shipping as also an alternate method of learning, and not just be fixated on just classroom teaching.
I have one more question. After that, we will go to the audience for questions. So I'm giving you a 1 minute's notice so that you can prepare. I'll come back. But the last word or last phrase you used, the word DG Shipping. And we have a former persona from the DG Shipping here. And I think we have the former DG himself here. So with no offense meant, with all of these changes that are being suggested, it also means that you need to be quick off the blocks to reach the goal. How quick can the administration be or is to meet or to achieve the results that are expected from the panel here or some of the panelists? And I think we have a former nautical advisor also.
Yes, I was going to say that actually.
He's here,
My friend Jay is also sitting there.
Yeah.
But never mind, I will attempt to answer, and if there is something more you could...
No,
go back
we will
on.
go back, yes.
Sure. See, first of all, let's clearly understand the job, the task of Maritime Administration, as I see, is to implement the STCW requirement. Okay. Now, over and above these top-up, as Captain Debu has very correctly said, value-added courses, they are all happening. They are all happening, right? Now, at the same time, there is a responsibility to see that when the revision of STCW is being talked about, we have a very clear and positive role to play in that aspect, right? And for that, that's exactly what he's talking about. That will happen. How quickly it will evolve is actually if we are taking lead role in STCW meetings, which we are, right? So the answer is very clear that we are actually very, very proactive. We are not sitting someone else to revise the STCW, come back, and then we start training. It is not happening. In fact, we are so far ahead of most of the countries in terms of evolving the training aspects within this country. We have issues of polar ships trainings, etc. Now, none of Indian ships are going on those waters. But the aspect about even the development of that polar code has all been done by the Indians. I mean, Captain Debu has taken some lead in that and worked through that.
Absolutely.
So that, that just
Absolutely,
answers
yeah.
that aspect of it.
Yeah, thank you. And what you mentioned about the polar code, no question. I mean, no wonder Captain Debu is such a chilled out person. Yes, Captain Tandon, you had raised your hand.
Yes, first of all, I think very, very insightful inputs by all the panelists. I think what I gathered was that we are all agreed that autonomous learning and putting the manufacturer who is making the new equipment to get directly connected to the learner so that he can learn the thing directly as it is intended to be run and take out the middlemen, as the case may be. Now, by middlemen, I mean the trainers, unless they are experts trained by the manufacturers themselves, for which also there were some reservations because there are so many type-specific things, so how much will the trainer learn? My question is to the Maritime Administration's representative there, Captain Khatri. How do you see your role evolving in ensuring that the seafarer, because you are going to still be certifying him for driving a ship safely from point A to point B. If the training or the learning is being transferred from the manufacturer to the student or the seafarer through this autonomous learning platform, how and where do you see your role going forward in the new era? Thank you.
Rajesh, thanks. I have also, as everyone knows, retired, so I don't represent Maritime Administration. But since I am here, I must answer the question. Uh, this is, if you just remember 10 years or 15 years back when ACDIS came, the same questions were asked. And I distinctly remember trying to answer the same questions, We went through the ACDIS aspect and we said this is a new technology and the paper chart will now become useless.
Redundant.
We are exactly at the same point today. Yeah, the technology is changing. That time, could we ever think that there will not be any paper chart on board the ship? No, I mean, I even now, if I have to go and command a ship, I am going to looking, where is my chart and where is my divider, right? How did we overcome that particular aspect? We overcame by getting involved. Who are the makers? And the reputed companies, they made sure that they were in the forefront. Those who were in the forefront of installing those particular equipment on board the ship, their people were trained first. And then it went into a cyclic motion. That they came back, the courses were set up, whether it was a UK wala or Norwegian wala, all those ACDIS makers. And then we learned and then we passed it on to the others. Exactly the same way it will happen, even now. That the reputed companies in this country will take lead and it will have a cascading effect. The administration as such will only play a facilitative role. This is my understanding how it works.
True. Thank you. Just to add to what you said, we were the generation, we saw GMDSS come in and we saw the ACDIS come in, though I was not sailing then. When the GMDSS came in, one of the things I noticed when I came ashore, that my peer group had a lot of problems with GMDSS coming in because they lost the radio officer. We all had seen radio officers and the usefulness he had, or useful role he used to play on board. But when later I found that the cadets at that time, they never had seen a radio officer when GMDSS came in. So when they went on to become masters, they had no problems because they never knew what was it to have a spare person available to you on board. Before I go to the next question, we have that 1 minute clip. Yeah, another 4 minutes. One clip I have to play, 1 minute. Please have your next question ready. We will have a 1 minute clip. Captain Narang, this is your clip. There's no audio?
It's just to show you immersive learning. The topic I think is there in your FSM. This is a simulator which is put next door to us by Sharjah, and a similar one has been put in Abu Dhabi Maritime Institute. So they claim that this gives much better result. You see his operations, etc., and the graphics. So graphic is not the only thing, but it immerses you in the surroundings.
Okay. Thank you, Captain Narang. Yes. Any other questions from the audience? Okay, we have a hand up at the back there.
May I?
Look, with the lights coming this side. Yeah, please, young lady, speak up.
Good evening, everybody present here and on the panel. First, I'd like to thank Shaukat sir. My question is to everybody here. We know in e-learning, it is not an innovation, but I mean it is kind of related to this thing, innovation. It can be called as modification. So we know e-learning, some subjects have 18 hours of e-learning, and we also have college hours. So it kind of become tedious for us. So that's the reason I'm asking, the time can be reduced to some like 9 hours. I just wanted to ask, what are your thoughts on this? We have a lot of practical studies also in STCW.
Welcome to the maritime industry. Welcome.
Yeah, and Captain Arun and Captain Pankaj also said about extra skills. Like we can use those time in upskilling things or in something else. So 18 hours, is it really necessary? We can reduce the hours to 9, and there are videos also engaging. There are something like engaging things, but I'd like to ask you if you can,
Does it? Yeah.
I think what this question of yours, that's the same question which is asked by, present day sailing seafarers.
Yeah.
They also have to do a classroom course, and then they again have to do a e-learning course.
And exit
And
exam.
everybody's,
And
and
exit
they have to
exam.
do an exit examination and an e-learning examination.
Yes.
And everybody is complaining about that. So welcome to the fraternity.
So I say
In short, young lady, he told you get in queue.
I do say e-learning is very helpful. I am a fast reader and I completed in 4 hours. But then I have to use auto clicker just to complete the time. So that is literally not helpful.
So you are innovating. Any other question? Okay, there is somebody at the back. Oh, we have quite a few hands up. Okay.
Hello.
Look, we have 3 minutes.
Hi, I'll just keep it short. Good evening, everybody. My name is Pushkal Kapoor from ISF. My question, I totally agree to what Captain Arun mentioned about the barrier of sort of accepting the technology that we have today. What I would like to ask in terms of as a developer, I've been closely working with augmented and virtual reality development for the last 2 years. We don't know what is required to be developed. And whatever is being developed by us or the other people who are developing, we feel that it's not meeting the expectations of the maritime requirement. So I'm only talking on behalf of a developer, as a developer myself, to like to understand what is the need of the hour, what kind of courses in augmented and virtual reality specifically would the industry need that can be developed. I'm happy to discuss it at a later stage as well if the answer is too long. Thank you.
Thank you.
I can take a short answer.
Yeah, short answer. Please, short answer. Captain Pankaj
Pushkal,
can-
thanks for asking. And I think I'll take a very short answer to this, and then we can discuss it later on. But I think it's not the methodology, it is not the tool. We need to start going backwards exactly to what is the objective of the learning and which tool suits it. No one tool will suit every aspect and every skill. So you need to start breaking it down into which skills and which micro skills. It may not suit all levels. So can virtual reality be the one-all bane of, one-off sort of solution to everything? I would tend to disagree. No innovation in its entirety has been something which is totalitarian. It doesn't work. So we need to see where the AR and VR fits, where the simulation fits, where there is classroom training fitting, where there is synchronous and asynchronous learning fitting in. So I don't think there is a very simple answer to this. We need to, like Captain Debu said, we need to modularize first and then look at what is the best way of and what is the best pedagogy. Which
Identify the gaps and then add on. Do you want to?
Okay. I just want to tell you the data. End of the day, the owner wants to make profit, and how he needs to make profit, that is based on the data, because the technology is the one which is suggesting, and there are a lot of tools, as Arun rightly mentioned, so they are exploring it, and the one which gives whatever inputs they want, and they see that the result is they are getting it, they use that one. And believe me, being owner, last 3 years, 3 software developers have been changed because they did not get the result what the developer or whoever the expert, I'm not the expert, but he said that with this you can able to achieve this, and it was not achieved, so they changed, and now finally I believe they are convinced, and slowly they can see they are getting results, so probably it will.
Can I take 30 seconds to answer him? Maybe 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay.
Please.
Is it Falcon Reality? Because you guys, I think, sent me this video. I have seen both yours and DNV's. You can meet me afterwards. I'll guide you on that.
Okay, we have last 2 questions, and I saw Captain Kunal raise his hand. And I took Captain Kunal's name because he's my neighbor. Yeah, please.
Thanks a lot for all the insight. I have a concern here, Captain Khatri. I'll just like to take forward from what you said. When ECDIS came in 2010, very rightly that you said that it was transition to the trainers, and then the cascading effect took place and it went all across the industry. The concern, what I see today representing ship managers is that we've got too many changes in the technology. Then it was probably just the ECDIS, just a couple of more things here and there. But now it's decarbonization, artificial intelligence, autonomous shipping, and a lot of that. So do we actually have the masses available to actually do the disruption? Do we have so many trainers available? Do the big shipping companies have so many people available to first learn and then the cascading effect to take place? I'm a little skeptical about this personally.
I totally agree with you actually, that there is a huge shortage of committed trainers. There is a huge shortage. Very quickly, I'll just give you a simile, and this shortage in our sector doesn't speak well about our sector at all. At all. Why? Just take a comparison, and we like to compare ourselves to second line of defense. So just see the first line of defense. Who gets to become a trainer in the forge? Only exceptionally bright people, they get to become the trainers. When they go through these courses, they also go through these modular courses, so to speak. And there's a grading. The grading starts with good, very good, accept. And then there is a grading called instructor grade. And that is a topmost, and it's competitive based. That in this course, they will be only given to so many people who will, fit the bill. Not for everyone who scores 80% or something. Those guys only get to go into the National Defense Academy and other instructors. Whereas here, I am, you can really throw some potatoes or tomatoes from there, but the fact is that most, if I haven't got any job anywhere else, I will definitely find a teaching job. It's unfortunately like that.
Thank you very much. That's where the concern
Captain,
is of all. Because where is the industry moving, and we being such a huge seafaring supplying nation, we need to wonder.
Captain Debu wants
So
to...
I'll break your question down into two parts. Basically, a technology part, which needs to be, the faculty need to be trained on. The institution needs to put some onus on training that. I will take the example of, let's say, ammonia as fuel or hydrogen as fuel. Okay, you will need to train that faculty where actually somewhere abroad maybe where the training is being carried out, and then you can disseminate the training amongst other faculty also. But then you can go to another point that will I be able to use the Wärtsilä's ammonia system, or will I use Sunrui's system, or will I use this system? That is where I think the developers come in the picture, where they can develop a simulation or a micro-learning video or an e-learning program for the type-specific training. So I would break it into two parts. Faculty will do the standard training, generic for all types of equipment, and then would be type-specific training, which could be done through e-learning, because that can be done at any time, anywhere. You don't need to bring the person into a classroom to do that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Captain Debu. And I have to now do the brutal bit. Sorry, a brutal bit I have to do. They have told me they will switch off the mic. 6:30, hard stop. One cadet wants to ask a question. No cadets want to ask a question. Okay, one cadet. And please a question. No groaning, whinging, moaning. Question. Mic.
Okay, see, about the autonomous ships which you talk of, it has 4 stages actually. By the time it will become totally autonomous. So right now we are almost at stage 1 and 2, where you have got higher levels of automated systems on board, but still there are people on board to operate them. Okay, and so now is the time when the person who is able to learn that will be quickly able to adapt when they go ashore to be able to operate that vessel remotely from there. Because they have got a seagoing background. So that's where I think you stand a very good chance right now that maybe 5 or 10 years, I would say 10 years maybe later, you will be able to come ashore and be able to operate remotely that particular thing.
Thank you.
For that matter, if you are an engineer, then if you learn the technologies on board, later on you will be able to troubleshoot with critical thinking, right? Sitting from a shore office, and able to do remote troubleshoot.
Thank you, Captain Deboo. And let us also not forget that more than 50% of the world fleet is more than 15 years old. So nobody is going to scrap a ship so early. So, before autonomous becomes prevalent, it's not going to be so quick.
The whole 50,000 ships are not going to change overnight.
Yeah.
Okay, that may be a 50-year
program. We are way over time.
20 seconds.
Huh.
So one thing, taking from what Captain Khatri sir said, we don't have enough trainers of merit and people keen to come and become trainers. I think we don't have equally keen learners. We have a scarcity of people who are willing to learn. And we need to take it from what Captain Deboo said, In the future, the profession is not going to be defined by static training. It is going to be defined by continual learning and development. And that's not going to be just with maritime. It's going to be something which is going to be with any profession which you wish to undertake. This is no different.
Okay. This is it. Thank you. The organizer is screaming from here. We have had a very fruitful discussion, and for the organizer, it's obvious that 45 minutes is not enough and we need 1.5 hours at least, but I'll spare that. But I'll spare that with one thought. In the 80s, till the 80s we saw the traditional lifeboats, the lifeboat on each side, by gravity you lower it. In the mid 80s, I for the first time saw a stern-launched lifeboat, and the ship had only one lifeboat, which was stern-launched. And it was a Norwegian ship. And it so happened that our ship was going to be taken over by a company which operated with Norwegian crew. So their chief officer was on board as a familiarization. And one evening I was talking to him, I said, impressive that on the Norwegian ship we saw this stern-launched lifeboat. Though I said, I've never seen it being launched. He looked at me very saintly and he said, yeah, true. We always do things differently. Our people, they will invent something, put something, and when they don't find monkeys, they put Norwegian seamen there. So with that, I will stop. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that very, very impressive discussion that we had, and to the lovely audience and to all of you who asked questions. That was really, really interesting to learn a few things, really. Well, since we have all captains seated on the stage, I would like to call upon two chief engineers, actually, who are right here to felicitate, and of course, Captain Shaukat Mukherjee to the stage. I'll also like to call upon Mr. Vineet Gupta, MD Anglo-Eastern Ship Management, and David Birvatkar to the stage to felicitate our captains here today. A big thank you to all our captains.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The biggest challenge is to make them finish in time. Yeah, thank you.